Thank you. Good morning. When I accepted this, so I speak English, so translation will be needed. So when I accepted this invitation, I did not realize really what it means to talk to hundreds of teachers. So usually that's, I was listening to teachers, and now I have to teach to teachers, which is quite intimidating. So I hope I will do okay, and you will give me a good mark at the end of this presentation. And yes, as was said, it's not an easy topic. I've been chairing and managing a hotline against child sexual abuse material and illegal content for 10 years in my life, and different period of my life. And only recently, a few years ago, I realized that it was time to deal with not only children like below 10, but also young people, teenagers, and young adults. And this is the purpose of STISA. So we'll talk about really just reminding what is image-based abuse, and then see how we can practically protect our youth from this type of abuse. I have two boys, which are adults now, and they are in their early 20s, and they find that the young people who are 5 years younger than them are actually in a very different world. So I would not say that my children do not understand the teenagers of today, but certainly our young people today live in a very different environment, and so it's a challenge for every generation. So what is intimate-based abuse? So it's basically intimate content. What is intimate content? We will discuss this later. So it's a picture, it's a video. It can be authentic, or it can be a fake. It can be stolen, or it can be produced voluntarily. And it's a picture that is shared without the consent of the person on the image or the picture. So very simple, picture not consented. Who is affected by IPSA? So today we are focusing on the younger people, the teenagers and the young people, and they are indeed a primary target for this type of abuse because they are heavily using the internet, social media. They all have smartphones, and so it's very easy to produce pictures of yourself or to produce pictures of others. But everyone should be, can be a victim of IPSA, because anyone can. It's very easy today to produce fake images of people. You take the picture of someone and you put it in a what we call a nudifying application. So it's an application on the smartphone. And from one picture, you can produce an image of a nude person. So it can happen to anyone, can happen to typically a teacher, if the students want to have this type of funny game. And it also can happen to men and women as well. There are some other types of people who can be heavily targeted. One which is a bit overlooked still today are the public figures, so people in government, people in parliament. And one area of concern is a woman who wants to run a public mandate or be a politician and everything, and women can be really targeted by this type of abuse. So we have to take care of this type of population as well. So, how serious is this? How many people are affected? So there are not really enough data at the moment, and we'll touch on this, but the estimation is that in one life, 1 every 7 people, men and women, can be affected by this, which is a lot. So the statistics are public. I can give the specific references. We talk, of course, about surveys done in countries with a high level of internet penetration and heavily use of social media. But in this type of countries, so we talk about Europe, we talk about Australia, Canada, USA, basically. This is the type of numbers that we have. When it comes to younger people, the good news, it's less. The population is smaller, so it's 1 every 14. But that's a lot still. It means that in your classroom, you may have 1 or 2 kids that have been really affected by this, and actually this number, I think, is very conservative. Then when it comes to if you look at the specific type of abuse, which is sextortion for money, so basically someone is in touch with fraudsters, and it's typically a fake or real girl pretending to be in love with a boy, and she asks an intimate image of the boy, and the boy sends the money or the picture. As soon as he's sending the picture, then he has to pay typically €200 for the fraudster to not reshare the image to online. And so when kids or young people are affected, then it's 9 out of 10 young people are actually boys, and they are aged between 14 and 17. The last statistics, I think we tend to think about that women are the primary target of this type of sexual abuse online. Well, it's not true, because typically women and girls would be targeted and requested to produce more images of themselves, while boys would be targeted to send money. So if they do not pay, then their pictures would be published. And something very important, the most maybe important number on this slide, is that 50% of the people facing this type of abuse have suicidal thoughts. Not that they really commit suicide, but I mean, you can guess. If you have intimate images of yourself published everywhere, I mean, you feel so ashamed. So having this type of thoughts is pretty obvious. So now, how do we respond? I think I have a question which is for you in this room, just to assess the scale of the issue. So I understand that a large number of you are teachers, but you can also answer this question if you're not a teacher. How many of you have been I've heard about relatives or have been dealing with students that have been facing this type of abuse, like intimate of themselves being shared without their consent. Can you raise your hand if you have been dealing with students having this problem or heard of this in your school? So you see, like maybe 10% of the population, so of the audience, and so it's a real problem. And so the question is, what do you say to people? What is the response? How? Because now that the image is spread online or threatened to be spread online, what is the response to this? The short answer is there is no good response at the moment. I mean, we collectively across the globe do not do a great job at protecting people and helping young people and all people to have this type of image removed from the internet. So we have set up STISA. So I've been, for 4 years, I was also the president of a global network of hotlines dealing with child abuse, and that's NASC, who is here and organizing this great conference. He's an important member of this network, and now we are building on this global project. We have set up STISA, which aims to provide the equivalent, the same level of protection for young people and adults. So we have 3 steps: advocacy, global network, and technology. I think I want you to read this very carefully. I mean, similar to what was said by the other speaker, by you. I mean, I will say things that are obvious, should be obvious, but I mean somehow is not said or overlooked. So this is what the sentence says: everyone, young people, older people, men, women, has the right to be protected from the non-consensual sharing of what they consider to be an intimate or sexual image of themselves. And the key word in this sentence is, and I will repeat on the next slide, is consent. I mean, it's amazing, but today, collectively, we do not have a strong understanding or support for respecting the consent of people. And this is why in the US in particular, there are a lot of discussion on if you are a public woman, and meaning like you have a public role in politics or whatever, is it okay that someone publish nude pictures of you, and it's said or perceived by many that it's part of freedom of expression. So for many people, protection of dignity, protection of intimacy is not considered as a human right that needs to be deserved. So this is one thing we want to advocate at STISA, is remind to everybody that we should respect the consent of the people. And this is why, really, if there is one of the key words for today to keep in mind is consent. And this is also something we should teach to our children and very early, so that we should not do unto them what they consider what they don't like. And of course, we have to tell them, look, your body is your body, and no one should touch it. So developing this culture of consent is still missing today across the globe. Now, the second thing, which is super important, and people who in this room who have been dealing with this type of issue, you would know, when you have your intimate image out there, what it is the first and most important thing you want. If you put yourself in the position of this situation, you will say, I want my image, whether they are fake or true. I mean, even if it's a fake picture, it's the same. Doesn't really make a difference. You want this image to be removed. You don't want people to see it. So when you deal with children who have, or teenagers or young people who have their image published, they will ask you, I want to remove it. And at the moment, yes, there are some elements of response. I mean, if it's like published on, let's say, TikTok or Facebook, or I mean, if it's only there, you can ask for the image to be removed, and they will remove it, because they are large companies. I mean, they have policies, and they do not accept this type of image. So you will have a solution. But real life is different than this, more complicated. And what you have is that the pictures will be everywhere. I will touch on this. So what very important for the next few minutes to keep in mind, the removal of the images is paramount. So very important to keep in mind for the next steps. So given that there is no real great way to remove the images online at the moment, we have, when you are alone and you cannot do much by yourself, then the solution is, what you do is you bring people together, and then together you are stronger. So what we do with STISA is very recent. I mean, we have been established legally not even 1 year ago, at the end of December 2024. So this is really work in progress. We do not pretend that we have solved the problem. We just provide a direction that we believe makes sense. So the network includes hotlines and helplines, so basically NGOs, some are public authorities who provide support to the victims, to the survivors, and help them get the content removed from the internet. So these are the organizations on the left. So you have basically 6 of them. Most of them are in Europe, Netherlands, France, Portugal, but we have also a member in Korea, South Korea, and in Australia. On the right part of the slide, you have the technology providers, so the people who are going to provide the technology so you can really process the reports from the victims and get the content removed. And not only removed, but also not republished. Because it's one thing to say, okay, my picture is published on this platform and I want it to be removed, but this platform may not have technology to prevent the republication of the same image. So you have to keep this in mind, and so I'm very happy to have the two technology providers today in the room. So Ziggy and Gerald, where are you? Can you raise your hand? Gerald, I see you, and Ziggy, I don't see Ziggy. So he must be around. He said he would be around. Oh yeah, he's at the back. So I mean, I brought them with us, and they kindly agreed to come because later today we are going to meet with civil society organizations here in Warsaw to see how practically we can equip organization in this country to better protect the people. And on the bottom right of this slide, you have also amplifiers. So basically organizations that can help us reach out to more people, more organization. One is interesting one is the Online Dating Association. So it's the association gathering all the dating apps, which obviously are very concerned about this type of abuse. So back to the problem. We are dealing, when you have a child or a young person in front of you and who has faced this type of abuse, the person is based locally in front of you, but the contents may be spread everywhere, and women in particular are victims of former partners who can become very jealous and then harassing their former partner. And what they would do typically is publish real or fake images of the woman in many platforms, so that it's getting extremely difficult for the victim to know that the image are public and then to request the removal to potentially tens of different platforms around the world. So it's very unfair and for the victim. So there are three elements that should be considered: trust between the victims and the people caring about the victim. So the victim, if you're alone, you shall not be alone. You must have the help from someone else, which is, experienced in dealing with this type of problem, very much like psychological support. You must operate in a legal environment that you understand, so that protects you. And all this information that the victim provides, yes, it's about suffering, it's about what people, it's about the real case, it's about pain, it's about really something very difficult, but it's this information, the fact that someone is hurt, is suffering here in Poland, is what we can describe as data intelligence, so information that's so very important for a country to understand what's going on. And our message, to every one of you and the organization we will be working with in the afternoon, is the trust must be built locally. So, victims should not talk to a foreign organization. You must talk to someone who speaks the same language, he's in the same country, understands the culture. The law must be the same one. If you are a victim in Poland, you must have all your information stored according to Polish law, not other laws outside of the EU or else. And the information you collect, every time a victim is a victim, this information is super important and should be assessed or processed in Poland and understood in Poland. So all this local information, and when I say local, you can understand it as national, Polish. All of this, the capacity to collect information from the victim, and especially the images and the videos that have been produced and are true or fake, taking down these images from the internet requires technology. It requires a process, and you don't do it just by email or by having Word on your PC. You need equipment, and this is exactly what my two technology partners, Viandifier and Abuse.io, are doing. And so our purpose at STISA is to tell you, look, you must absolutely keep the trust locally, the data locally, the information locally here in Poland. And with STISA, our role is to help you provide the infrastructure, the technology, so that you can request the removal of these images easily across the world, and you don't have to deal with hundreds of platforms that you don't know and maybe across the world. So this is what we do, and I'm finishing there so that we have a few time for questions. So what we do at STISA is we have launched a technology call to action. And so what this technical call to action, I will show the slide, but I will not discuss in details. Is the two bullets on the left side, which is if you want to protect victims, and if you as a teacher, you have a young person who is a victim of this, today, I mean, it will be difficult to help her, but it's possible, but it's a bit of work. But the future is that you could tell the young person, look, you are going to go to this trusted Polish association or authority, whatever Poland wants to build. You're going to provide your content to this place, to this trusted place. And then this trusted place, they will take care of removing your images. And the way it will happen in the background, and this is described in the two bullets on the left side, is that this local Polish association or authority will have the technology to take the information in a way that can be processed efficiently at scale. And then the images and videos will be hosted in a trusted national database of hashes, so not the images themselves, but a digital signature, which is better for the protection of the people. And then this hash database will then be checked and used by platforms around the globe so that they permanently look for these images and prevent their publication. So this is really practical. I mean, my presentation was a practical way forward. I do not provide you with recommendation on how to talk to the young people. I mean, this is outside of my scope. I mean, this should be done by people who are experts in psychology and supporting young people. But I can help you on the background and the technology in the background, so that when you say to a young person, we are going to remove the information so that this is not public, we provide the technology so that it happens, and it happens for the rest of the life of the victim. So thank you with this. This afternoon we'll discuss this slide in more details with hotline and helpline here in Poland. And I hope this gives you some hope that, yes, we work on a solution, and hopefully this situation will improve for our young people. Thank you very much.